I was just going to say that. Yeah, there a lot of these endowment funds are 501c or like financial entities, and they don't pay any taxes on that.
Right, and because they're donations, it's not
Right.
an income issue.
Yeah, that's yeah, and I think there's finally some talk about. I was looking at some legislation that some of the U.S. Congressmen were talking about. They're starting to get noticed as to how much cash we're talking about sitting in these endowment funds that's growing like crazy, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. That's basically tax free, and a lot of these administrators, the endowments can be used in any way they want. So they can be used to distribute funds to all kinds of things, lobbying, all types of stuff. Now, if that goes into payroll, of course, the people receiving the endowment cash, they have to pay income tax on that. But the growth and stuff or selling those securities, it typically is not taxed, and that could be a problem. All right, so those of you who are listening to the audio only version of the podcast here, you'll be a little bit of a disadvantage, but I'm going to word picture what we're looking at here. If you get a chance to check out the video version of this podcast, you'll be able to see exactly what we're talking about here. So we have a graphic. This, by the way, just came up in a simple web search, so this information is not hard to find if you want to find it. This came from a website called College Raptor, and basically they've got a rundown on the top schools, and we're just going to look at the top 5 or 6 here and get an idea on what the endowments are. So this is a fairly recent piece of information. This is a largest endowments. So we mentioned earlier, we qualified it. We're going to be picking on Harvard a little bit because it's just the easiest one to pick on. Harvard University currently has a endowment of about $41.894. It's almost $42 billion.
That's with a B, yeah.
That's with a B. Yale, 31 billion. Stanford University, 28. I would argue pretty darn close to 29 billion. Princeton, 25.9, call it 26 billion. And then you go down the list, and Massachusetts, MIT is 18 billion, and University of Pennsylvania is 14.8, almost 15 billion. So you can see these are not small numbers. And again, these are endowment funds that are growing every single month because most of these colleges, they're going to retain some cash, but for the most part, it's going out into some type of an investment infrastructure. The next graphic we're going to put up here is going to be the return on investment for Harvard University. I believe this came from Harvard. However, I was not able to confirm that. But this is what their growth of return has been since 2016 when they lost 2%. Through 2021. So 2017, they had 8.1% return. In 2018, they had a 10% return, 19, 6.5, 2020, 7.3. Ready for this one? In 2021, Harvard's endowment grew 33.6%. And I don't know if you guys do any investments out there, but if you invest in mutual funds or things like that, that's massive. I mean, when I saw that number, I was like, wow, how could that possibly be that much? But that's it. That's what it is. What say you, Jim?
Yeah, it is massive. And you look at their enrollments, for example. You look at their enrollments and their tuition fees, based on undergraduate tuition fee for your basic tuition, which was $52,000, almost $53,000 a year, and if you add in room and board and fees, and anyway, the total price tag is $76,763, and they claim that they had 31,000 students. That's $2.5 billion just in tuition fees per year coming in.
Right.
See that the endowments, the only thing that goes in the endowments out of that is what's ever left over, or anything that they don't have to spend that they can roll into the endowment. But in other words, whatever profit, because they are a nonprofit, whatever profit that they do generate from these kids they can roll it into the endowment and protect it there and not have to pay any taxes on it. So basically, then they maintain their non-profitability. So that goes hand in hand with the growth of the endowments. When you have a staff that's drawing less than $2.5 billion a year, and everything else that goes on in the school maintenance and everything else, there's a profit there.
Wait. Let me get my head around this, Jim. So we're talking Harvard, right?
Harvard.